Buenas tardes, le habla Nelson Soler de parte de la Cámara de Comercio Latina. Good afternoon, this is Nelson Soler from the Latino Chamber of Commerce. Today we continue our series of Hispanic Heritage Month, and we celebrate Latino and Latina leaders that are making substantial contributions to the state of Wisconsin. So let me talk to you a little bit about the program. So today we're going to have with us leaders from the public sector, one of the toughest sectors to work with within Wisconsin. And we have 4 stars that I've been working with for a long time. So I'm really proud of the panel we have put together for you. So we have Jose Galvan from Employ Milwaukee. We have La Señora Maria Watts from WIDA, Natanael Martinez from the city of Milwaukee, and Israel Ramon from Milwaukee County. Each one of them will share with you their story, their contributions to the fabric of our state. Your moderator today will be myself, Nelson Soler, as stated before, I'm the president of the Latino Chamber of Commerce and also the founder of the Latino Entrepreneurial Network, and I'm a business owner myself. So let me tell you a little bit about the Chamber first. So the mission of the Chamber is to foster the economic development of Wisconsin by advocating, strengthening, and promoting the growth and development of Latino and other minority and emerging enterprises, with the goals of providing increased access to capital, business opportunities, job creation, and capacity building programs. The mission of the Latino Entrepreneurial Network is to promote entrepreneurial awareness and education through bilingual coaching, professional development, and networking. As part of this programming, this is brought to you through our Más Fuertes initiative, which is funded by the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. So we will continue having educational series in financial topics, and next week we will have on the 6th en Español, the basic of commercial lending, and in English on the 8th. Additionally, next week we will have another great panel for you celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month. We'll have Amanda Roman from Paychecks, Ivan Sikla from CIBC Bank, Erika Bellafuerte from Salud First, Alfredo Martin from North Shore Bank, and Andres Gonzalez from Freighter Health Systems that will be sharing their stories with us. Finally, you want to connect with the Chamber, you want to connect with the Latino Entrepreneurial Network, our phone number is 414-888-2270. So let me start with this great panel I have for you. Now you can see all their faces here. And the first question, and as I has shared in the other sessions, Dr. Blair, which is one of my instructors, has shared with us, and she has done extensive research, that leaders lead through their stories. So we're going to start with that point. I would like to hear Maria Watt's story, Nathaniel's story, Jose's and Israel, how they came in to Wisconsin, how they came in to do what they do today. We're going to listen a little bit also about their organizations and what they do. So that will be the first round. So since we're all gentlemen, we're going to start with the lady on the panel. So the first person that is going to talk to us and share her story will be Maria Watts.
I want to thank you for this opportunity, Nelson, and want to say that I'm very fortunate to be with this awesome panel that you kind of put together. And starting with my personal story, I came from Mexico 38 years ago. Right after I finished college, I'm an accountant. And I came to this country to kind of do my master's degree in economics, and I stay here. That was never the plan to stay here, but nevertheless, I'm very happy that I'm here. My story is I started working with my career, started working with La Casa de Esperanza. That's what I started. I was the director of housing, mortgage housing in there, helping first-time home buyers for 7 years. And from there, I moved to Tri-City National Bank. And what I was doing was the assistant vice president, helping with mortgage lending and commercial lending. And from there, I went to WIDA. And at WIDA, I've been at WIDA for 22 years. And the reason WIDA is the reason what I do. WIDA has been in existence for 48 years, and he's been making a huge difference in our communities. And under our leadership with our CEO, Joaquin Altoro, we have a program that is called the Lab, and that's where we bring a lot of ideas to kind of like for them to study, and then we can eventually kind of have them to be a pilot program. And once that pilot program works, then we can spend it through the whole state of Wisconsin. So that's something that keeps me motivated to continue moving and kind of seeing what's needed. I strongly believe that collaboration is everything. And so I've been very fortunate to do a lot of things by leverage our knowledge and resources with the public and private sector.
Thank you, Maria. So now that we heard Maria's story, I'll be interested in learning from our most extroverted speaker today, Jose Galvan. So Jose, can you share with us your story?
Again, my name is Jose Galvan. Thank you, everybody. So I'm born and raised in Milwaukee. My father is Mexicano de Jalisco, and my mother is Colombiana de Bogota. Thank goodness they met here in Milwaukee, hence that's how I came here. I always thought growing up that I would leave the area, but I stayed, and I'm glad I stayed. My father was a mechanic, and my mother was the one in charge of the house and everybody else, and she did a lot of odds and ends. So first generation, all my schooling was here in the area. I went to UW Milwaukee, and yes, I graduated. Go Panthers. But I've been here all my life, and I've always been working in the public sector per se, nonprofit sector. Always felt that it's something that first and foremost I enjoy, and something that growing up there wasn't a lot of us in that sector helping all the community. I've been very blessed and fortunate to work for some great organizations. You know, I started out as a volunteer at UCC. I worked at La Casa de Esperanza, both Waukesha and La Casa de Esperanza Unida, that no longer exist. I've been at the public school system for a little bit with the Zapera, made me realize I don't want to be a teacher. Kudos to them, pero no es para mí. And then I worked for the United Way for a little bit of time, worked at the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District, and now I'm at Employ Milwaukee. We are the Workforce Development Board for the area for Milwaukee County. We're one of 11 workforce boards, and our goal is to work with job seekers and employers and help them connect, either through resources, training, education, or connections, collaborations and partnerships, like with everybody in this chat right here. Again, I've been very blessed in working with some great individuals and great leaders. I've always been fortunate in the sense that a lot of doors were already opened by the previous generations, and I appreciate that. And my job and my challenge is to keep those doors open, but also open other doors. But most importantly, to make people aware of where the doors are and why you should come through that door. I firmly believe in providing any and all information I have. I firmly believe in I will help you, but I will not do it for you. We don't learn by others doing things for us, but I will be by your side and behind you, pushing you when you need to push as well. And I hope to have an opportunity to tell a little bit more about Employ Milwaukee and how we could possibly help you in your organizations and your communities. Thank you, Nelson.
So thank you, Jose, for sharing your story. And now that we heard from Mexico, Colombia, let's hear from Israel Ramon. He's from a different part of the world. So we'll see what his story is and listen to that.
Well, thank you. Actually, I am from Mexico. So I was born outside of Monterrey, Mexico, which is in the northern part of the country. Came to the Chicagoland area when I was about 1, and was raised in northern Illinois. Went to college in Illinois, and I came to Wisconsin, or Milwaukee specifically, to go to law school. That was in 1991. I graduated from law school in 1994 and began working as an associate attorney at a labor and employment law firm, and I was part of their workers' compensation and disability team. A mere 4 years later, I became a partner in that law firm, and practiced law for approximately 25 years. In April or May of 2019, I received a call that the Register of Deeds for Milwaukee County had resigned and decided to retire. And I was urged by many people in the community to put my hat in the ring for a possible appointment. I did, and I met with Governor Evers in mid-May of 2019, and he appointed me the Milwaukee County Register of Deeds. The Register of Deeds office started in 1836, before we became a state. And the primary charge of the Register of Deeds is to be the repositor of every real estate record in that Register of Deeds county. So we're responsible for quite a bit of real estate records, deeds, mortgages, satisfactions, liens. My office holds over 3 million real estate records. We also are a conduit and a vendor for all vital records issued in the state of Wisconsin. So we process hundreds of thousands of vital records every year for Wisconsin citizens. I am the first Latino constitutional officer in the state of Wisconsin. So the Register of Deeds became a constitutional office in 1848, and there are 72 of us, and we represent each county in Wisconsin. So again, after 25 years of practice, the governor appointed me the Register of Deeds, and I have been here since May of 2019. I'm happy to report that I had a primary election because the Register of Deeds office is an elected position. There was a primary election in August, and I won by 65% of the vote. And I will be on the ballot in the general election in November, or on November 3rd of this year. So I'm very happy to be here, and thank you, Nelson, and the Latino Entrepreneurial Network for the invitation.
Thank you, Israel. So the last person to share their story a little bit, it will be Natanael. And Natanael, although when you see his face, it will be totally güero. As you know, we all Latinos share different ethnicities, cultures, and everything else. The culture unite us, but there are different languages and different ways we look at. So Natanael, can you share with us your story, please?
Sure. Natanael Martinez, currently the Commercial Corridor Manager for the Department of City Development's Commercial Corridor team. I grew up on the south side of Milwaukee, born and raised there. My dad was from San Jose de Buenavista, Jalisco, Mexico, and worked for 25 years as the Director of Hispanic Ministries for the Archdiocese of Milwaukee. My mom was an MPS teacher. She grew up in Little Chute, Wisconsin. So from a very young age, my parents were always very involved in the community through their jobs, through marches, and working with issues important to the Hispanic community in Milwaukee. So they've always instilled that care for our community within us growing up. So I had a large family in Milwaukee. That's one of the reasons why I decided to come back after leaving for a little bit. I have 50 first cousins in the area, so a very large family, and Milwaukee's always been home for that reason. After doing high school in Milwaukee, I went to UW-Madison to study marketing, management, and Chicano studies. And following that, I had a sales career where I was in Oklahoma City as well as Illinois. So I got to get out for a little bit, but eventually wanted to work my way back. So one of the first jobs I worked in coming back to the city of Milwaukee was for a nonprofit called Layton Boulevard West Neighbors. And in there, I was the economic development manager, working with small businesses and doing neighborhood work on the south side in the neighborhoods of Silver City, Layton Park, as well as Burnham Park. So a lot of great businesses there, a lot of great time getting to know people and connecting and learning small business needs, as well as how to connect them to resources and programs. And that's what eventually led me to my work right now in the Commercial Corridor team in the city of Milwaukee. So what we do is a number of things to enhance the quality of life and improve the commercial corridors and neighborhoods throughout the city. We have a couple grant programs to assist small businesses in investing in their commercial spaces. It could be signs, it could be major facade alterations, even in doing interior work to help build out spaces. We also administer the city's up to 40 BID and NIDs, and those are acronyms for Business and Neighborhood Improvement Districts. And those are areas where property owners have agreed to come together, raise funds, and then invest those in ways to enhance the areas to make them better for the businesses primarily, but also for the overall community to make them better places to do business. So it's a great kind of blend of community work as well as business, and really enjoy the opportunity that we get through this to work with business owners, to provide them assistance in launching their businesses or making those enhancements to really improve the neighborhoods throughout the city. And our most current endeavor right now is the Restart program. We just launched it yesterday. The application went live. It's going to be available till October 8th. And this is a program that we put together working with CARES Act dollars to assist small businesses through the coronavirus pandemic. So it offers them assistance to invest in personal protective equipment, restock inventory, to modify their businesses. And to me, that's the key, is adapting to COVID pandemic and making sure that they're putting in measures that are making it safer for employees, customers, and really putting them in a position where they're able to be successful in the months and the years to come. And I should mention a quick shout out to Nelson and the Latino Entrepreneurial Institute. We're partnering with them in round 2 so that if businesses need assistance in answering some questions or even preparing documents so they can upload them to the online resume or the online application tool, that they can reach out to the Latino Entrepreneurial Institute for some assistance in answering questions. So that's all online at milwaukee.gov/restart. And happy to continue on to the next topic.
Perfect. So we're going to stay with you, Natanael. So you're going to start with the next questions. So each one of you share a little bit how you got here, what you're doing today. Some of you talk a little bit why you do it, but not really directly. So I would like you to address 2 things. Why do you do what you do? Why you enjoy it so much? And what challenges have you faced in doing so? So Natanael, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so what I really enjoy about what I do is, again, that ability to impact our community, making sure that the city's resources are available and accessible to everybody. So I and a colleague speak Spanish. That's a big part of getting our grants to our small businesses and making sure that they're comfortable applying for them, that they are really understanding that these are for everybody and they should be taking advantage of it as well. So what I really enjoy about being in this position and taking on this job is really providing access to small businesses. And a lot of times we're not the ones directing it, but we're helping people to know about planning sessions that are going on when major construction projects are coming up, and really making sure that everybody's aware of what's going on, that they're being communicated and offered an opportunity to have input on some of those things where it's applicable. So, I mean, that is one of the challenges. We don't always know what to expect when an issue comes up and people may be very strongly opposed to something or very strongly for it. But I think, what's enjoyable about that is, again, that everybody has a chance to weigh in. And sometimes through those difficult conversations or those difficult situations, we may come out with an even better project with things that we may not have anticipated. So regardless of the difficulties that could come up from that, it could lead to a much better project and more people feeling included, which helps to better tie our community together.
Thank you very much. So now we will let Maria tell us a little bit about that.
As I said before, I've been working for WIRA for 22 years. So you would think that that's 22 years is a little too long. So then I should try to do something else. And the reason why I haven't, that's because I truly enjoy what I do. Making a difference in people's life has been a huge thing. And I think the key to this is the partners and the people that I associate with. You ask us to talk about challenges and successes, and I want to bring to your memory, Nelson. When I met with you back 1908 when the predatory lending was going so heavy, and I remember meeting Nelson for the first time. And we talk about that. He was a realtor, and it's like he was so upset that people were taking advantage of our people. Our own people were taking advantage of our Latinos. And we talk about different ways that we could help. And thanks to the conversation, it led us to we're hosting a program on television on Telemundo where we partner with lenders, realtors, and insurance companies who help to pay for this program, but we were hosting it. And we were really helping our people to not to be victims of predatory lending. And that's really funny that we're here together talking about successes when Nelson is organizing it, and he was part of my very first success in my position at WIRA. And that's the other thing that makes me feel good is the fact that in my position, I'm in a position where I can influence, partners, and we deal with all the state agencies, not only WIRA. So I always like the fact that if WIRA cannot do it, whom else can do it? And then I'm instrumental in connecting and making things happen. I'm always trying to be aware of what the needs in our community. And one of the challenges that we have in the South Side, especially near downtown, was food deserts. So recently, 5 years ago, we were instrumental in giving tax credits to Mr. Wangar, who developed have a development on First Street, where we have multifamily, retail, and most important, the grocery stores. And a grocery store that CERMAC was done through New Market Tax Credit from WIRA. And so that really helped downtown and some of the people from the near South Side. It's a great store. And that's, kind of bringing a lot of other business because of them being there. So to me, it's not only what you do, is what is going to happen right after you make, you make an initiative, you kind of help one business. The other one that comes to my mind and is very close to my heart is the 704 program that is a national. That program, 40% of those units, number one, that was developed by a minority person, an African-American developer, Brendan. And so that 40% of those units are for disabled and homeless veterans. So those are the people that normally do not get help. So to me, kind of making those things happen, it is so close to my heart, because I've seen so many developments, but I never seen in the history of my career at WIRA, I never seen so many layers. The capital stack was beyond belief. There were so many people that participated on that to make this happen. So to me, kind of opened my eyes to kind of know that, things can be done. Some projects require more than others, but everything can happen. And I think the key to this is collaboration, to keep our partners and to kind of like look for more partners, because collaboration is the key to anything that we do. WIRA could never do it by itself. And on this panel, I know everyone, and I know that they have helped me in a lot of things that we're trying to accomplish. And it's just something that I cannot express with words, how thankful and how satisfied I continue to be with what I'm doing, helping our community, and not only the Latino community, but also the African-American communities and communities throughout the whole state of Wisconsin that we have access to help. So the other one that I want to mention, because it was really difficult, was El Señorial. El Señorial was a restaurant that we have Layton Boulevard, talking about going in history, Natanael helped with that project. And so WIRA was able to kind of help them to expand their business. And, that business do so well after they expanded. And, for me to be kind of up there, kind of talking to WIRA, and they really don't know that culture. They don't know how that things work. So we need to, it requires a lot of education through some partners, especially when you're looking for money. And being persistent has been one of the biggest values and the biggest things that I truly believe. I've been got an award from WIRA for being so persistent, and I honestly think that persistence is the key to success. Is we really want to make an impact in the people in our communities. So thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, Maria. So now we would like to hear from Jose Galvan.
Why do I do this? Well, first and foremost, I enjoy it. I've been fortunate in finding this career track kind of by accident. I'm going to be completely honest about that. But working with individuals and working with businesses in workforce development is something that I take a lot of pride and a lot of pleasure and joy in. The way to improve our communities and Latinos and everybody else involved is by having people understand how they can access resources. It could be money, information, basically the two biggest things, money and information. The challenges for our communities, La Razas, those Latinos is we're very diverse and sometimes we're very divisive as well. But that's not how we're seen by the greater communities. And our communities need to understand that and understand that even though I'm Mexicano Colombiano married to Boliviana, doesn't mean that I'm going to, give preference to just those individuals. My approach is what's good for all is good for one is good for all, and it should be spread amongst everybody else. I also sit on the redevelopment authority for the city of Milwaukee, and that board we have developers such as Vanguard, one of the few minority-owned developers who've actually invested in the city, used the city dollars, used the city resources and other resources that unfortunately a lot of our community partners, or a lot of our community residents, Latinos in particular, aren't aware of or don't use. A lot of it comes from where they come from as well, lack of trust, just to be quite honest, lack of familiarity. They don't see enough of us at the front door, or when they do see us, it's usually at the front door, and that's about it. But that has changed and is changing, not as fast as we always wanted. So things I enjoy about what I do is I get to help impact that. I work with all types of businesses, large and small, predominantly small businesses. I work with them to identify what they're looking for as far as a workforce, what are the current trends, what are the current needs, and then I have the opportunity to then take that information and go back to our partners, our providers, and tell them, okay, manufacturing is not what it was before. Now it is a high capacity, high degree, high skilled job, and it's also a lifelong job that people don't understand. I get to take that information and try and educate individuals and educate our community about that. I get to partner with WIDA, with the city, with the county, and say, okay, we can do this, you can do that. How can we work together to make it happen? Nelson, you're a perfect example of that. You had a vision, you had a dream. You are the poster child for what our community needs more of. They need to not wait for things and not be afraid to ask questions and ask why and how can we change that? Why does it have to be that? That is, I think, one of the biggest challenges that still exists and will continue to exist. I was blessed to have a great family that encouraged me to assimilate and speak English at home and in school and everywhere else at the cost of almost losing all my Spanish. Gracias a Dios lo puedo hablar, no muy bien, pero lo hablo. But they also pushed me to explain and understand and not to take a back seat. And yes, we are humble. We are our own worst enemies in that we don't promote. And it's something that a lot of us need to get better at, especially our generations that are coming up. We need to not raise them to always shut up and listen. Okay, you can listen and you can speak up. And that goes for a lot of our business owners. There are a lot of resources out there that they could be taken advantage of. We have funding available if you want to expand your business to bring on new employees. We can provide some type of facilitators of the training. We can provide customized trainings. We can help you get the word out about the positions you have open. But a lot of Latinx companies, I don't like that word, Latino companies, don't use the system because, again, it's not what they're used to and it's not what they're comfortable with. You don't have to pay anything other than your sweat, time, and equity and tears, and you're already doing that anyway. So use us to help you do that. If our organization, which is geared towards helping you find your workers and for workers to get connected to them, doesn't help you, we have resources to maybe connect you with other companies. Again, there are many situations that the panelists in this and here have interacted together again to work together to maybe say, okay, I can't help you with development of a new business in terms of a building. But Maria, Natanael, and Israel, they have more resources and more connection there. When you get the company built, or while you're having a business built, I can help you with the workforce side of things and developing and the training there. So we need our communities to understand not to be ashamed, not to be embarrassed. An accent is just that, just an accent. We understand you, we're willing to listen. Don't use it as an excuse not to do things, and no te da vergüenza. Don't be embarrassed. You know, like, you can't get anything if you don't ask for it. And what's the worst thing that can happen? They'll say no. Okay, you just ask again. So again, as an organization for Employ Milwaukee, a lot of people don't understand who we are and what we are. We are Department of Workforce Development. No, we do not handle unemployment compensation, so that's not my area. But we do deal with those people that are looking to get trained, to get into the workforce, return to the workforce. Whether you're graduating from high school, graduating from college, returning from wherever you came from, whatever institution you came from. If you're a business owner, you want to expand, or you're looking for new employees, you're looking for other like minds, we have that availability to help you.
Thank you, Jose. So now we're gonna hear from Israel.
Well, thank you very much, Nelson. I think for me, the opportunity to enter into public service came at the right time. I had just finished 25 years of private practice as a lawyer, representing thousands of clients and being in court many, many times every day of the week. And so when this opportunity presented itself, I thought it was a good thing to engage in public service, to connect with a real important part of the institution of government, because without the Register of Deeds office, there would be no conveyance of real property in our county. So you can't buy and sell property unless you come through us to make sure that the title on that property is clean, and that the person that can sell it, and that that there are no encumbrances. So we are part of the economic viability of every county, because we are the folks that make sure that every document on every property in our county is recorded and accountable for, and is searchable by the public to make sure that they're buying what they purport to be buying by the seller. So it's real important that we have a Register of Deeds office, because it would really devastate our economy if we didn't have these offices, and that's why it was created a long time ago. There are challenges. When I was appointed, there was a federal investigation of the Milwaukee County Register of Deeds office, one of the reasons why I was appointed is that Governor Evers was looking for somebody with a legal background to make sure that the office was managed in an open and transparent and ethical manner, and that it abided by all the statutes and regulations that the office operates under. And so that's the challenge that I had when I was appointed, and I've enjoyed making many, many reforms to the office to make sure that it serves the public well, and that the public can see what we're doing in our operations and have the trust and confidence that we're doing the right thing, and we're following the law, and we're making sure that all our employees and all our processes are available for scrutiny. Because I think that's what good public servants should do, is to make sure that they can account for the work that they do. I'm very lucky in the sense that every Register of Deeds office does not take from the general tax levy, but we give back. So in Milwaukee County, we give back about $3.5 million to $4 million a year to Milwaukee County residents. We send to Madison about $15 to $16 million a year from our office in terms of the transfer tax fees and whatnot. So we're a vital part of the economy of Milwaukee County, and I really enjoy that, as well as I enjoy the public sector or the public service component of what I do in talking to the public and making their lives better when they purchase a home or when they sell a home.
Thank you. So thus far we had heard about servitude to be important in a leader. We learn about making a difference. We learn about extending access. We hear of the importance of influencing or generating influence on behalf of our community. We also learn about speaking up, being the first domino, as some people say. We cannot remain in the background. So what advice, vital advice, would you have for somebody that is interested right now to enter the public sector and perhaps follow the path that you have followed? As you know, you have three of you are on what we'll call civil service type of environment. Israel is an elected official, is a different little dynamic. So I would like to hear, what three things will you tell somebody that wants to be an elected official, want to pursue that, or in your case is someone that want to work for the public sector? So we're going to start with Israel.
Sure, thank you, Nelson. So I think the most important thing for everyone, but in particular Latinos, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, is that if you contemplate working in the public sector or running for elected office, make sure that you're prepared. You know, get your education, do well in school, rely on those teachers and those mentors that you have when you're growing up, and really think about what you want to do in the future, and make sure that you are guided by your thoughts and beliefs and what interests you. So make sure that you study the right thing when you go to school. That's number one. So be prepared educationally so that you can help others as you advance in elected office or in the public sector. You know, number two, be true to yourself. If you're a Latino and you're proud of your roots, you know, make sure that you're involved in your community. Make sure that you reach out to those that come after you to pave their way. So you have to be not only, you know, now social media says influencer, but you have to be a doer. You just don't have to influence people. You have to do more than that, and you have to do, and you have to understand that we're all part of this together, and that without young Latinos and Latinas taking charge and being part of their community, things are going to be much more difficult. And then finally, you have to be prepared for the challenges in public life. So if you're a public official or you want to run for public office, you have to understand that there's a price for that, and that is everything you do and everything you say is scrutinized, and you're not going to make everyone happy every second of the day. I came in, again, after 25 years of lawyering and really enjoying that work. And I thought, boy, everybody's going to love me. Here I'm making reforms to the office. I'm saving the county money. I'm generating revenue for the county. You know, what's not to like? Well, there's a lot not to like from the public and from other individuals in institutional government. So you have to develop a thick skin, but you always have to make sure that you have that premise of wanting to help your community and wanting to help the public. So that's paramount. So be prepared, get educated, make sure that you know what path you're going to take, and enjoy public service and enjoy helping others. If you don't do those things, or you don't have an interest in those things, then being in elected office is really not going to be good for someone. But I would encourage more Latinos and Latinas to run for public office, because we certainly need our voices at these levels of government.
Thank you, Israel. And that's definitely something I always teach my students, both in the nonprofit world and also as entrepreneurs, that 20% of the people, no matter what you do, they're always going to hate you. They're always going to dislike your hair. They're going to dislike your values. So if you accept that early on in your career, that you're not going to satisfy everybody. You're not out there to change yourself for others. You're out there to change yourself for yourself. Through your story, through your own means, you make the difference, not through what others people's opinions are. You'll do great. So I reiterate that, and we're going to go to the lady in the panel now, to Ms. Maria Watts.
Well, first, I really agree with Israel. You know, your advice is, you know, totally right. And so for me, if you really want to do what I do, you need to really like to make a difference in the community. You have to like to be around people, to kind of like do networking, and because that's the only way to really reach out to partners, and it's the only way that you can collaborate. So to do that, that would be my first. But then to be successful in doing that, you need mentors. And I'm not saying just one mentor. I honestly cannot count the mentors that I have. And you have to be willing to kind of like reach out to them and continue keeping them and adding more mentors to your list. And keep in mind that good people are going to be busy. So don't get discouraged when somebody says, well, you know, at this time I can't, I have a lot of things in my plate. So keep them, find out why they're not able to help you at this time and kind of keep them kind of like in your waiting list and be persistent. And because good things don't happen overnight. So, you know, be kind of persistent on saying, you know, a year later is like, how is your play looks like? And a lot of times, yes, for you not to be asking, then they're going to say, okay, Maria, what do you really need? And so that's how I've been successful. And my advice is to kind of follow those steps if you really want to do this. And also the last thing I want to say is emphasizing on what Nelson said. Keep in mind that not everybody's going to be liking you, and you're going to be going to events and you're going to see people that you know, they make it very clear that they don't like you. And, you know, be nice to everyone. This is work, and, you know, try to keep your personal life out of your job and keep moving, because it's not about you. It's about the community that you represent and the impact that you really want to make.
Thank you, Maria. Natanael.
Yeah, so the three things that I think are important for the work that I do, starting number one, just relationships are very important. You never know when you're meeting with somebody, where they're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And, you know, you may need to call upon them for assistance, or that one relationship, you help somebody out really well, you get to know them and they can speak highly of you. It definitely can, you know, change your future as well, kind of moving forward. So making sure that, you know, you really take into account when you're interacting with people, the importance of relationships. Another thing that I think is really important, just kind of in the work and just kind of with the visibility, is you got to walk the walk. You know, it's a lot of times about results, and I'm not the best public speaker, but accomplishments speak for themselves. So knowing how to communicate what accomplishments that you've made and making sure that there's visibility in what you've done, I think is really important for the work that we do. And then lastly, caring about what you do. It's really important. Hours aren't always 9 to 5. There's weekend work, there's nightly meetings. You got to make yourself accessible, and, you know, people that care about the work are going to do that. They're going to go the extra yard. When it comes to helping a business fill out an application, it's not about just checking marks on a box, but really getting to know them, knowing what are their needs, and beyond the resources that I provide, how can I better help them to help their business expand and further down the line. So I think those are my key things. Is one, relationships are important, making sure that you're accomplishing what the goal of your position is, walking the walk, and then again, caring about what you do. I think when you really do, it really shows and people can notice it.
Thank you. Jose?
First and foremost, one thing for someone who's interested in a career, in any career, first and foremost, is don't stop yourself. Don't be afraid of failure. I always tell my children, I don't want to hear I can't, because you're limiting yourself. You don't know until you try. And just because you fail the first time, you have to try again. So that's one that I instilled to my family, is that we don't give up. Somos cabezones. So let's just keep going forward, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Don't take no and don't quit. If you're interested in a career, all these panelists, everything they said holds true. Don't sell yourself short. Know what your strengths are and work on your challenges, your weaknesses. In public service or any type of nonprofit or governmental job, develop your writing skills. If you want to make a career here or in any area, if you can write, and believe me, writing is, for some people it's a skill, for a lot of people it's something you got to work on, but it's something that you can work on a regular basis and a daily basis. If volunteer, all of us on this panel, including Nelson, are always looking for opportunities to be engaged and to volunteer. And volunteer with the right intentions as well. Even if you're running for political office, yes, you're going to volunteer because you want to get your name out there, but also you want to do it for the right reasons, and it has to be something that holds to your values. Yes, you're going to be compromising, but don't compromise on what's really important to you and to your values. Never compromise those. As everybody said on this panel, not everybody's going to like you, and that's fine. And there's nothing you can do about that, nor should you try and do anything about that, to be quite honest. Maybe because I'm a little older now, I don't care as much anymore, excuse me. But do what you think is best at that moment, and don't be afraid to admit when you're wrong. And that you don't have the answer as well. In a career in public service, nonprofit, governmental, education is important, because many careers in this area do require a college degree. It's more and more common. Yeah, you can still find that person that's needle in the haystack, but it's less common. And again, don't be afraid to speak up and practice your public speaking. It's something that whether you like it or not, it's going to be part of what this career is and what this sector is about, is being able to speak and converse. Don't be ashamed of your abilities and your perceived weaknesses as well.
Thank you very much. So we're at the end of the program, so we thank this great panel that we had today: Israel Ramon from Milwaukee County, Maria Watts from WIDA, Natanael Martinez from the city of Milwaukee, and Jose Galvan from Employ Milwaukee. We learned a lot today, and I wanted to recap a few things. So to be a good leader in the public sector, listen to what they said, be willing to be a servant, number one. Extend access to others. That's how, that's why you become a leader, to extend access to others. Speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to fail. Leverage your heart and your passions. Be persistent. Make a difference. Influence, but also do. Demonstrate with your actions who you are and what you're about. Be prepared. We have, and I always say this, when you're a minority or you're a female, we have a higher bar. So other people can do work mediocre, at the mediocre level, they will be great. But if we do something at the same level, we're not good enough. So think about that. Develop relationships, be authentic. So those are the summary of the final thoughts of each one of our speakers. You can all open your microphones to say goodbye to the audience. And as I stated, if the video was interrupted at any point, don't worry about it, because this video will be available after this. It has been recorded, so you can share it with friends and family and share your wisdom forward, so you'll get the link of the video. So I don't know if any of you want to say anything at the end. I'll start with Israel, then go to Maria, Jose, and Natanael. And when Natanael finishes speaking, I will disconnect the program.
I want to thank the Latino Entrepreneurial Network for sponsoring this discussion today. All the panelists, you, Nelson, of course, for your expert guidance on the panel. And of course, those people listening in or watching in on Facebook or other social media. So thank you for your time. And we hope to bring more presentations like this in the future. But we thank everyone for joining us this afternoon.
Again, yes, thank you, Nelson, and the Latino Entrepreneur Network for this section. And I just want to remind people that I'm here to serve you, and I want to thank for this awesome opportunity to be on this panel with these wonderful leaders and doers in our community. So once again, thank you, Nelson.
Muchísimas gracias, Nelson. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be among peers, among like-minded, like people that look like me. This is one of the great pleasures of this work, is seeing the progress that's happening. Thank you so much for that, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you as well, Nelson. Very happy to be here with everyone this afternoon. And just again, the last minute plug, the Restart program, milwaukee.gov/restart. If you have a small business, again, take advantage of the resource. It's available to everyone, and hope to help as many people as possible. And don't forget, LEN is also going to be assisting people with the applications. So thank you, and get on those applications.
Great. So we thank everybody. We'll see you again next Friday with a panel of corporate Latino and Latina leaders. I'm still not convinced with that Latinx thing. So we'll see you next week. And we thank our panel. If you need information on the Restart program or to contact any of the people involved, remember to call 414-888-2270. That's the joint line for the Latino Entrepreneurial Network and the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Southeastern Wisconsin. Have a great afternoon.